put that little boot thing there. It's opposite to what you'd think. It sinks down. Anyway, I'm going to go around and put all the bolts in loose, and then I'll tighten them up. That's first thing. Start a storm coming over here. It's getting dark early. Anyway, I much prefer the skinny wheel. I don't like that big fat wheel. I reckon it's weird. I've only got one on this side, but there's two on this side. Yeah, either way. I'm going to raise this car up a little bit. I'm going to have to pull that lever off and move it one notch on the spline. That should be enough. What the bolts look like that I'm going to be going with. They're the fatter ones. I think there's 6 fat ones. This car's got heaps of stuff missing. They weren't all in it anyway. It only had a couple of bolts holding the whole body on. I'm pretty sure this car had been just thrown together and bunged on eBay. Anyway, these are the first 2 I'm putting in. Finally, man, that took me nearly 6 hours to get all them bolts in and all done really well. 24 bolts hold that body on. I've got every single one of them in. Man, that is not easy. Not easy at all. Especially when I finally got the body on, did up the last bolt, and I realised this brake line was crushed up under there. So I had to undo most of it and lift it back up just to get that out. That's tight. Old Ortman's thing's a little bit skinny. So I'm going to have to do something to make that fit. That's tight. The other side's the same. Pretty annoying. I'm sure that's not busted, that line. That's done up tight. Pretty good. Looks pretty good sitting up on this thing there. Anyway, I'm just going to lower it a bit so it doesn't... Tomorrow I'll be putting in the steering column. I've just got to tighten 2 bolts in the centre. I need someone to help me tighten them. I just cannot reach them. Steering column's going in. Fuel line. It's a fraction long, but I'm sure I can jim it along. I've got to move it along a fair bit. Probably about 2, nearly 3 inches. So let's just hope. Let's hope. I don't want to think about that right now. Anyway, that's enough for today. Alright, what I want to do, I've just got to slide that along a little bit, and it should be good to go. But I don't know if I can swap them. I don't think so. Yeah, I've already had one shirt today full of sweat. Well, when I got home, I just had to rinse my shirt out and was just dripping wet. There wasn't one dry section on it. I got that hooked up. There was something that was on my mind. I had it loosened off. I had to just loosen off a bit more. And I got that. So, just got to hook this line up to fuel pump and the fuel filter, which I don't have. I don't have a fuel filter. So we won't be doing much till we get that. I won't be starting it till I get that. That's going to be it for today. It's just too bloody hot. I'm dripping on the floor. Stuff that. It's nearly as hot as when I was a kid. Anyway, if anyone knows where I can get a fuel filter for this car, Ormans don't have them. I don't have one. I'm not going to be able to try and start it till I get that. Well, I'll get one from somewhere, but I haven't been able to track one down yet, so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, I'm calling it. It's just way too hot. Saturday here today. What I'm going to do today is put the steering column in, get the steering. The steering hasn't been hooked up ever since we've had this car. The steering didn't work. I've just got to adjust the toe quickly. It's towing in a bit. And then I'm going to hook up all the cables and everything. Okay, the steering's all hooked up, bolted up. The first time ever that's worked. That's that new rubber making that noise. The new firewall rubber. I'll put some rubber grease. That'll just help that slide. Probably should have done that when I assembled it, but I didn't realise it. I'll be able to get some grease up in there. Now next thing I'm going to put on the speedo cable. Then I'm sort of done in there for now in the cab. And then I'll put on the throttle cable, choke cable, the clutch, hook up the brakes. I've got to modify those parts for the bolts for the brakes so they tighten up. So right now I'm doing the speedo cable. I've got the throttle, the speedo cable in. Nowhere near as hard as a taco cable, but still, like anything on this car, it's difficult. You just got to get up under the dash and it's got to line up, otherwise it doesn't want to screw in. These are all for the alternator, these wires here. I'll make them look better before I hook that up. So what I'm going to hook up next is the throttle cable, and then I'll hook up the choke cable. And I'll have a look at these alternator wires then, and then I'll put the air filter back on. They're relatively easy to hook up, those cables. It's a fraction stretch, that cable, but it'll be fine. I've just got it maxed out on the adjustment. I'm going to have to cut and shut some of these wires just so it looks neater. That one's too short, this one's too long, plus I'll put some more of this stuff over it. That's one thing I wanted to say. If you ever find yourself restoring a car or doing anything, rebuilding cars and stuff, put the wipers on after you've hooked the battery up. I've seen plenty of people put them on, they think it's in the right spot, they hook the battery on, it goes across the bonnet, across the bonnet, and then they have to run in and switch it off. So always put them on basically last, so you don't do that. You know they're in the off position. Pretty much got everything on this side hooked up. Clutch cables, the clutch hydraulics is hooked up, all the cables, everything, steering, all this side's hooked up except for the fuel pump. I'm waiting on the fuel line and some high pressure clamps. I don't have that size clamps, I don't have enough anyway. This side over here, I've just got to hook up the solenoid for the starter. That's the wire that goes to the starter, so one goes to here. There's another wire. I've just got to double check what that is. That should be it. It goes to this side. I've just got to trace that back to the key. Pretty sure this wire goes here. Now there's this wire here. I'm hoping it's one of these, because there's nothing else. And there's a couple of wires down there for the horn, and that's it. But these things down here for the lines, I've lost the lock nut, the nuts that hold that in place. They're 16 by 1.5, and they're usually just a half nut. I've looked everywhere, I can't find them. They may be still here somewhere. Anyway, at the moment I've got to pull I'm going to jack it back up, lift it back up. I'm going to take these nuts off here. I may have to shorten them, because that's just loose. It's stupid. Well, these things, I'm going to have to shorten them. They're just, those cables I bought, they don't fit. The rear brake flexible hoses, they're just too skinny. The bit that bolts at the end of it, so it just won't tighten up. I'm going to have to shorten that by a thread or so. Anyway, I'll shorten that, now it's tight. I wouldn't shorten that, well, you probably can do it without a lathe, but I've just got to do the other side now. I've just got to shorten this one. Film this bit. Try to anyway. They just don't do up, they're too long. Well, there's nothing wrong with the bolt, it's actually the part that the new flexible line, the end bit's too skinny, so it won't tighten up. It's not much, but I shouldn't have to do this at all. But like most stuff you buy that's reproduced, not that good. Just about do it. Doesn't need much. See how that works. They're all tight now. See how they're supposed to be. But that part there is too thin. It should be a bit wider, and then you wouldn't have to modify that. I'm a bit annoyed I can't find these nuts that hold that in place. I'm just going to have to buy them. Unless they turn up, I don't know where they are. Hey, Sunday here, I'm just going to start putting these bumper brackets on, the rear ones. I've got new bolts, of course, stainless. I just can't figure out where these little hangers go for the tailpipe. At the moment, I just can't remember where they went. I cannot see anywhere. Anyway, I'm going to put these on. I'll do the same with the front, and I've just got to figure something out. There's the bumper brackets on, all done. I had to give that one a little bit of a twist. It's perfectly lined up. I'm not sure about you guys, but I really like this grey chassis. I think it sets this car off. It was originally grey, that's why we painted it grey. Anyway, right now I'm looking for where these hangers go. There's no bolts here under the floor. Strange. Like the sail pipe comes out here and it's got this little bracket and I can't find it where it mounts. That's the right hand front bumper bracket. It's pretty nicely centered. That's a 10 by 125 nut. I'll have to get some. I don't think I have any. That's an odd size. That bit there, when the first day I started working on this car, that was folded over that nut, well, a different nut, bolt. So, and I was flogging it with, I had a bar, and I was flogging it with a 10-pound hammer, hit it as hard as I could and smashed straight into this finger, busted it, smashed it. I couldn't do anything with that finger for 2 or 3 months. Now I'll put this one on. I'm just not seeing how this works. Put this on the floor, give me a bit of light underneath. But look, where's that supposed to bolt to? It goes like that somehow, unless I make a bracket for it to hang down. This seems weird. That's just odd. Yeah, I just realised I said a 10-pound hammer. It was a 4-pound hammer, sorry. Yeah, smashed it straight into my finger and destroyed my finger. There's that one on. I used larger washers there. I just wanted to use larger washers because there's a fairly big hole. And those little ones just weren't quite right. Anyway, I've got them on. They're quite well centered. Anyone who watched this knows that front panel was absolutely rubbish. So it's turned out quite well. They're centered well. I found these are the only 10 by 125 bolts I got there, these things, but I'll get some nylox for that. And like I said, I really like this grey contrast on the chassis. And that's about it. I haven't got that much to to it actually. I'm waiting on, I've ordered new nuts for here. Half nuts, stainless. They'll come here in a few days. I've just got to rig up the exhaust, a little bit of wiring, got to get the seats retrimmed, got to paint the roof. There's really not much to go. I've got to put bumper bars, got to get the bumpers chromed or figure something out. And I've got to figure out how that exhaust mounts at the back. It's just weird. Anyway, I'm going to be going away soon, so this car's going to be not going to do anything, obviously, while I'm away. I'm going to be away for 2 or 3 weeks. But next week I've just got to work around the house. I've got to get it all mowed and cleaned before we leave. There it is, covered up out of the way so no one can damage the bloody thing. I'm just going to leave it like that until I get back from Sydney. I might do a couple of things to it before I go, but there's really not much to do. Like Matt's got to get up his arse and buy the wheels. We've got to get a soft top for it. I'll paint that thing when I get back, that roof, and fix it all up. And, you know, I'll finish off the exhaust. So by then I hope I figure out how these things mount, otherwise I'll invent something. You know, I've got the hide for the seats. I've got really nice, same colour as the door trims, leather. And that's about it for now. I've made to hang the exhaust. Just a bit of whatever size that is, just put a twist in it, heated it up. Yeah, that works like that. You just hang that up there like that. I'm going to clip it into that bolt up there and put a nut on it. That bolt there. That's what I'm going with there. Got the tailpipes on. They're a hammer-on fit. They don't need a clamp. I got my mate to expand that at the exhaust shop. Both on, they're even, and they're out where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to come out under this gap. I've looked at some line. That exhaust is all done. And I'll probably get one or two more things done on this before we go away. I'm just waiting on these new nuts for this, and I can bleed the brakes. I'll bleed the clutch. It's ready to go. Not much of a video this, but anyway, this little lever here, I've got to pull this back off and drop that down 1 notch. That's set up there, and that will raise the car up. There's a little mark there I've just noticed. Huh. I don't know. Anyway, that's got to come down, not up. That will make it lower. New bolts, nuts for the front brakes, front brake lines. I just got them from Nut and Bolt Australia. That's where I get most of a lot of the stuff from. The stuff I can't get from the local bolt place. And anything that's really hard to get, the stuff you can't get, I get from Classic Fasteners in Adelaide. I've got these leads on, the brake lines. Pretty tricky. There's no room in there, eh? Pretty damn tricky indeed. I'll guarantee when this is built, this car, they hang these leads off the body and then they drop it down. Anyway, it's done now. It's just, what a job. It took me an hour and a half to get those 2 bolts on and the lines hooked up. Anyway, I've just got to I'll bleed all this stuff up tomorrow. Right, time to unwrap these mouldings. I want to see if I can get these on today. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I've got to go somewhere in the morning. When I come back, I've got to get the bus out and start packing the bus up because we're leaving on Thursday. So yeah, I fixed these. Seems like ages ago. About 6 months ago, I repaired all these mouldings. Also, I've just put this in. To get that in, there's a trick to putting that in, and you do have to bend it a lot. And plus, I've already painted that, so you just got to be careful you don't scratch it. And because it's been painted, but it's only been painted once. So if you paint that a few times and you go to bend it, sure, the paint will probably crack, but no problems with that cracking at all. Right, I'm just gluing these on because I don't want to use clips. They cause rust. So I'm just doing it like that. Okay, I've done the 2 guards. This one sat on pretty nice actually. It's got a little clip at the front. It's supposed to be a screw, but I'm not putting that screw in because I don't want to take those headlight things back off. The screws at the back, like the glue will hold it. Same on this side. There's a bit goes down in there, but there's no screw. But there's a screw at the back. And it's just glued on. It's not coming off. That was badly twisted, that mould. It was actually had it. That's actually pretty damn good mould now. I'm really happy with the way all of it's turned out, especially that one. That thing was just about to throw away. I'll do the doors next. Hopefully they'll be just easy. Alright, I didn't film putting them on because honestly I've been doing this, putting these moulds on for at least 4 hours, at least. And they've come out really good. Like one of these top of the guard moulds, I think it was this one, was just badly twisted and just bent in 2 places. Like it was like a Z, that thing. It's perfectly straight. I think the door moulds were okay. I don't think I did anything to them. This moulding here, it had a little bit of damage on it. These back moulds, I know this one here should have been thrown away because this car was pushed into there, the whole thing, bang. And realistically, you really can hardly tell. You got to get up there with one of those, a jeweler's loop, to see that that's a little bit got damage on it. It's really come out great, and I've just to glue them on properly without spilling glue everywhere. There's a trick to it. The exhausts look good, all lined up nice. So what we've got to get pretty much, what I'm going to do now is walk away from this car for 24 hours. I'll come back tomorrow and pull all the tape and the weights off it and everything. Give it a wipe down, put the cover back on it, stick it up there, and that's it. It's staying. I'm not touching it till we get back. But it's getting pretty close, this car. I'm super happy. This moulding here gave me a lot of hell. I had to reshape the back of this because it just wouldn't fit right. It just did not fit right. It would have looked a bit weird. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how thing's looking. It's, when I did start working on this, I said it'll be the best one in the country. I wasn't kidding. Even though I haven't done it the way I wanted to do it, if it was my car, it would have been done a lot differently. I would have sandblasted the whole body, sandblasted every single thing. But the way we've done it, it's coming out really nice. Okay, it's Wednesday. I'm going to start taking all this stuff off, give this a wipe down, and cover it over. There it is. The moulding came out really well. Eventually, they'll get taken off. I'll put the screws in there, but they're not needed. Like this thing here is going to be replaced eventually, so it'll get done then. I've got the mirrors. I don't have these badges, but you can buy them. That's about it, I suppose, for now. It looks pretty nice. It's a pretty nice little car. And what I've got to do, basically, left to it, is hook up the fuel line. I've just got to get a bit of quarter-inch fuel hose. I've got those high-pressure clips coming. And I'll hook that up. I've got to do a bit of wiring on the ignition and the starter. Make sure all that's right. The seats have to get redone. Put the wipers on. Got to get rims. I haven't bled the brakes yet. But, overall, it's looking pretty damn nice. Pretty nice little car. Anyway, I think I'll make a video and just show you what's going on. There's not much left to do to this car. There really isn't. I'm going to make a roll bar for it. But I do have to paint the top. The top's just sitting up there. That will be getting down. I'll make a bit of a stand. I'll probably use the old stand that we had the body on somehow and rig it up a bit. But yeah, they come up really good. Especially that one on that guard. It had it on the driver's guard. That thing was stuffed. The moulding I'm talking about. There is one other thing that I don't have. I haven't been able to track it down. Is a fuel filter. I need to get an original fuel filter for this car. They have like a paper filter that goes in the fuel bowl. I need that and the spring. So if anyone can help us get one of those, that'd be awesome. But yeah, I can't start it until I get that. So hopefully we'll be able to get one soon. Anyway, thanks for that.